Welcome again to everybody's favorite little podcast, You Made That, the podcast about makers making the things that we make. With me as always are, hey, got the right word in this week, are Bob Blanford and Rebecca DeGroot.
Hello, Mike.
I had nightmares about the English teacher rapping me on the knuckles last week, so...
Have a little bit of fear every time you say is now.
Yes, much fear. I also caught myself texting a sentence to a teacher that ended in a preposition.
Oh.
I know. Welcome to English Talk, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Talk about English talk. My students make fun of me for some of the things that I say, but I think it's just northern things. Like, I say these guys quite a bit.
These guys?
But I also say, or like you guys, like when I'm referring to my students, instead of saying y'all, because that is still very much not part of my vocabulary, and I don't think it ever will be unless I'm using it as an example of what I won't be saying in a natural conversation. I'll say you guys, and like I get looks like, we're not all guys. What are you talking about? Or these ones and those ones. Like when I'm referring to like the paintbrushes or something, I'll be like, you can use these ones, but not those ones. And I'm like, these ones? What? I'm like, what? It makes sense in my head.
And what do you say when you almost walk into somebody in the hallway?
Oh.
I was going to ask about that one. Oop.
Yep, that is a
Oops,
very
sorry.
natural thing that comes out of my mouth.
Probably confuses everybody in Texas. Ope. What? Ope?
What's an ope? It's usually when I walk into somebody like entering or exiting the restroom. I'm trying, like we're crossing paths and you open the door into somebody. Oh. And it's usually followed by like, oh, sorry, excuse me. Oh, my bad.
So what's everybody been working on this week?
Nobody wants
don't
to go
everybody
first.
jump at the microphone to talk. God. Bob, what do you got going in the shop this week?
Well, I did have a little bit of shop time. I avoided the shop until late in the day on Saturday. I'm so happy. My demonstration for SWAT, I know what I'm going to do, and I have successfully done the items. So now it's just a matter of I'm putting together they have a document that they give out at the beginning, I guess, that has all the steps that you use with photographs. I'm trying to put that together and then start practicing my demonstration. So I worked on that a little bit on Saturday and a little bit today. But I've been kind of avoiding the shop. I had things that I did as opposed to being in the shop. Like today, I washed my wife's car and my car and cut the grass and things like that. So I've been kind of avoiding a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying to find somebody that'll do the detailing on the inside of my car. Maybe put on ceramic coat. What's your day rate?
For ceramic coating, it's about $1,500, and for detailing the inside of the car, I could probably do it for $1,100.
Okay, you're a little outside of my price range,
but I'm still below a detail shop.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, they wanted $2,000 to do my car, to do the exterior of my car. Wow, that's ridiculous.
Hey, how about you just do it for me, and I'll give you word of mouth. Drum up some business for you that way.
Yeah, I don't like that idea.
You probably want that exposure.
I need that exposure, yeah.
Yeah. He can tell everyone about it, all of his friends.
I tell you what, I would not do it because your vehicle is somewhat of an SUV. It's in the SUV realm.
Yes.
And this is the wrong word to use, but I hate SUVs and I hate pickup trucks. Hate is the wrong word to use, but I don't know another word. I washed my wife's car today, and she has an SUV. And she came out. She said, "Oh, you washed my car?" She was all excited. I said, "Yeah." I said, "You've been talking about buying a Dodge Charger." I said, "Would you please sell this and get a Charger? Because there's no joy in washing an SUV, because when you're done with an SUV or a truck, they just look like a box. You know what I mean? There's no joy in it. But I love washing a car. I don't know what it is. I guess it's the way I grew up, always working on cars. And I get so much joy from washing automobiles, cars, but I get so much disdain when I do trucks and SUVs. So I told her, I washed it, but you're going to hit the car wash for the next couple of months because I'm not doing it again. There's just something about having to get a step stool out to wash the top that I cannot stand. And it's too much metal. It's just too much. It's too much. I got cars down to a science. I love them. But I know. I'm an odd bird, but the cool thing is the older you get, the more you can just close doors on things. You just don't care anymore. This is what I like, and this is all I like, and everything else is outside of that realm, right?
And everything else is stupid.
Stupid.
And if you don't like it, get off my lawn.
You dumb monkey. But I do. I get so much. I can wash my car, and it brings me so much happiness. I don't know what that is. I don't know why. But I wash anything else, and it's like, eh. But I did. My wife was looking at a Dodge Charger with a Scat Pack in it. I was excited, but she had to turn it down because with 3 17-year-olds on our insurance, you don't want to know what the insurance agent said.
Yeah, no.
It was the perfect color. It was the color she loved. The car was gorgeous. It was awesome, and I would get so much joy from washing it and keeping it up. And I wanted it so bad, but it didn't happen.
Oh.
So now she's looking for the same car without the Scat Pack.
What color was it?
It's that Dodge B20 something. It's that old Dodge Charger from '69. That blue, like B something blue. I forget the number. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely incredible, and she loves blue, right? So, but yeah. So if I can find that sucker with a 6-cylinder in it, it's a done deal. I'm gonna buy it and not even tell her, just to get rid of that SUV.
I'll tell you what, if somebody figured out how to do a paint job with that Yinmin blue, I'd buy that.
With what blue?
The Yinmin.
I don't guess I'm aware of him.
It's a new pigment that they've come out with that is just vibrant blue.
Wow.
It's the most vibrant I've seen.
Oh,
Mackenzie Penworks sells it as a blank, as a diamond cast blank.
Wow.
It's nice.
It's like the opaque equivalent of a cobalt, but a little bit brighter.
Yeah, cobalt blue is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rebecca, what have you been working on in the shop?
Well, I had a demo yesterday, so going and preparing for that was fun. It was a very last-minute preparation. I don't usually wait that long to get everything ready, but this time I did, just because I've been doing this same demo just so often that everything seems like it's already set up. So my prep was literally the morning of. So that was yesterday. The demo went really well, and it was Trent Valley Woodturners over in the UK, which was really cool. I like all their accents. They're really fun to listen to when they talk in the kind of pre-demo. So I'm listening to them chatting about stuff, and I was like, this is just great. So it was a good demo. I did the walking bowl, and then the other day I went to Rockler, and they had this giant pile of clearance stuff, and it wasn't like clearance like gloves and like little tools and things. It was like heavy machinery clearance. So there's this oscillating spindle sander I've had my eye on for a while, and there just happened to be one in the clearance section. So I picked it up, and
awesome.
It was about $200 less than it normally would have been.
That's
so,
awesome.
Is that the Triton?
It's the Jet.
Ooh, the Jet.
You're legit now.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Too legit to quit. And so I spent part of the day yesterday building a little stand for it. I already had a bunch of Baltic birch plywood for the boxes I've been making for my pieces. And so I'm like, I just need to put this on a little dedicated stand. I'll probably put some little feet on it later on, but I just made a little cabinet with drawers. So it's the shelf itself, or the cabinet itself, holds the whole table of the spindle sander up at about my workbench height. So it's the height of just about everything else. And it feels like a comfortable height to hold things at and stand next to and work on stuff. And I'm pretty excited about it. And I made 2 little drawers. I still need to get some handles for the drawers. And I asked Henry's opinion. I don't know why I do this sometimes. I was like, should I make the handles or buy them? And he's like, buy them. Of course, it's going to be easier. I was like, do I look like the type that always goes the easy route? No, you know I'm not. So I'm still tempted to just make some cool like carved handles or something. And I was like, it would be so easy. I could just make sure the back is flat, do like a little cut underneath, be able to use my sweet saber-tooth angle grinder carving 4-inch wheel things and just get at it and like make some weird alien handle things and maybe, I don't know, scare some people and put some spikes on it or something. I don't know. But I walk around this thing.
Tell me more about this saber-tooth.
Oh yes, saber-tooth with 2 R's. Oh. And if you want to know more and see some lovely, colorful pictures, you can go to sabertooth.com. And if you even want more to go on top of that, you could save 10% off your entire online order by entering YMT at checkout to get your own superior carving burrs. Bob, it looks like you wanted to say something.
10%.
Didn't I say that?
Is that backwards for you? Yeah, no, you did.
Yeah,
I did.
I was like,
all I saw was
echoing.
The 1, and I was like, "Are you telling me to hold on a minute?"
10%. No, I was echoing the 10% because that's
10% off your entire online order. And I got to demo that in my demo yesterday, and I upset a lot of people because I don't know that they ship worldwide, and they're like, "Those are amazing! Like, we really want those, but we don't have them over here." I was like, "Oh man," because they are like completely made in America and right up there in their little place in Michigan, and they were very sad to see my demo because they were so awesome to watch me carve all this stuff, and then they were like, but we can't get them.
I'm
like, I'm sorry. I feel so bad because I want to be able to show off all the tools that like you could also use yourself, but I mean, I don't know. Sabertooth, get on that. They might ship worldwide. I don't know, honestly. I just know that it's a lot easier to ship within the States.
Oh, yeah. A lot cheaper, too.
Yes. Whew. Yes. So, I don't know. Maybe there's a Sabertooth distributor that ships out of the
international
country.
Shipping is difficult because, sometimes I'll do like a giveaway and I want to be able to include the international folks as well. But it's like the smallest package that costs like $3 to ship in the U.S. is almost $16. And if you get over a certain amount, so I sometimes try to add extra stuff to it, but you hit a certain amount and it's like $30. I mean, it just like jumps like crazy. Yeah. Shipping is so ridiculously expensive. And it's a shame because, it'd be so nice to be able to, reach out and send things to all of my friends that I've made, that are not in the U.S., so my European friends, etc., right?
Yeah.
That's sad. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So I kind of feel the same way, though. Like, I told you I shipped off my Australia piece last week, right? And that thing was like $170 to ship. Just for that one box. But, I mean, I make my boxes really well packed, so it was probably a lot that had to do with the weight and the size of the box.
On it.
And the insurance on it. Yeah.
Have they received it? No, they haven't received it yet.
No, they said it was supposed to take between 6 and 10 business days. And so far, as of tomorrow, it will be 5 business days.
Okay. So, have you been tracking it?
You know what? I haven't even looked. Okay. I've been so busy with other stuff. But I've been working on that, working on the Ruth Niles newsletter, working on a second video. What?
Ooh, question.
Yeah.
Say what?
Where does one go to sign up for the Ruth Niles newsletter?
Oh, that is a good question, Michael.
That's a great question. If we have some background music while I look up the actual name of the website.
I'm sorry, I hum terribly.
Well, if you look up Ruth Niles bottle stoppers, you'll find nilesbottlestoppers.com. And on that website, you can browse her products. You can learn more about becoming one of her professional featured artists. And all you need to be a professional featured artist is a sale platform put together and a good website that has good pictures of your work. You can be added to her customer gallery. You can order bottle stoppers, bottle openers, other things, kits, mandrels, t-shirts, and I believe there's got to be somewhere on here that you sign up for the newsletter. I'm pretty sure there is. I just don't know where it is. It's on her website.
Right then.
Everything's on the Ruth Niles or the Niles bottle stopper website. Oh, it's on the contact me page. There's a little link right at the bottom. All you have to do is enter your first name, last name, email address, and your interests. And right now she has wood, glass, and metal as your interests.
Question for the listeners: could we get that link added to the show notes for our listeners?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right now, while I'm on the page.
I think if Mike and I are interested, there probably are multiple people out there who would also be interested. So I'd love the opportunity to share that with everybody.
Yes, I will add that right now.
Awesome sauce.
You rock.
All right. So, Rebecca, do you have other things that you want to share, or are you ready to turn this over to Michael for what he's been working on?
Not that I can remember. I'm sure I've been doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pre-packing.
I just don't remember.
I've been pre-packing some boxes. So the boxes that I built for my other pieces that aren't in them yet, I did cut enough custom foam that I would be able to pack the pieces once I get the foam custom cut, if that makes sense, to fit right around the pieces. So at least I filled it with the foam that it needs, plus some, and then I packed it back up, wrote what piece is going in that box so that later on when it's ready to ship, I can cut the foam up and get it ready. So I've just done some like extra pre-work before everything else, but yeah, I know I should be doing other things with my time.
Well, you know what you should do. What I did, I bought memory foam shoes. That way, hopefully, when I walk into a room, I can remember what I walked in for.
Hey, look at that! We're into dad jokes already.
We sure are.
Damn, that was a fast show.
So you think that was a joke? I really do need help. I mean, come on, how many times have you done that? You know, I'll be sitting there and I think, oh, I need to go do this, and I'll stand up and it's like, what was I going to go do? And it's getting more and more frequent.
I beat you to it.
You did, and you just deleted the section I was going to type into. I was like, where the heck did that just go?
All right. Hey, Michael, two things. Number one, I want to know what you've been up to. But number two, I hope there's an update on your French door, because that's maybe something you've been up to.
Hold on.
Well, let me tell you.
Where's the shop?
French
door? Did you
door.
just delete the shop, Squirrel?
Yeah.
But what?
Well,
Put it back. Put it back.
I can't.
What? Undo.
I can try. I don't know if that'll work. Yeah, no, that ain't gonna work. Well, there. No. Is that it?
A riveting podcast.
Did I undo it? There, from the shop squirrel's in there. And I'll just cut this part out.
Good plan.
Yeah. So anyway, where were we? Oh, so update on the French door. The French door is in.
Yes.
Yes. And I have yet to use it because we're trying to train the dogs to use a different door to go in and out to do their business.
Yeah.
So I've spent the last 3 weeks trying to convince them that that hole in the wall doesn't exist anymore.
They keep running
and they have to use a different... Literally, the first day it was in, my dog, the big dog, the 100-pound dog, ran into the glass.
Oh, no.
That's awesome.
Well, you need to get those little stickers that go on it now, right?
Right now we have the drapes closed, so they can't even see it.
You know, you saw the Roadrunner as a kid. You need to paint a doggy door on there and just it'll be and then set up a camera. America's Funniest Home Videos. You could make $10,000 like no problem at all.
That might just cover the cost to replace the tempered glass in the door.
Oh, they can't break tempered glass.
You haven't seen my dog.
Dude, I'll tell you a story about tempered glass. I'm going to get off topic for a minute, then I'm going to give it back to you.
Okay.
Years and years ago, when one of my older boys was very young, we went on vacation, and we went to Tennessee, and he bought a slingshot. We had pea gravel in our backyard. So we get home from vacation. I'm unloading the car. I hear pop. Tsh, what the heck? I go around the side of the house. He had picked up a piece of pea gravel and shot it right at the sliding glass door. Oh. Totally destroyed. It literally just, it didn't come out. It just was totally just cracked like a spider web. The entire door, not just a spot, the entire pane. Yeah, it's cool. But it didn't come out. Thank God, because it would have been a mess. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry to take away from you there, but
quite all right.
You reminded me of that when you said that.
I actually got some shop time today, about 6 hours of it.
Wow.
I was quite impressed.
Very good.
Worked on a couple pens, just taking it slow, taking my time, doing CA finishes, trying to get back into the groove of that. Got the last of the basketball court pens done, because I had one late order come in, and got the prototype done for space pens. And as everyone can tell, I've been kind of, I don't know if you want to say procrastinating, but dealing with some issues shop-wise, because that's something we can discuss a little later in the show.
Okay.
I did that today. Yesterday I spent some more time learning a little more about programming the Arduino.
Ooh, how's that going?
That's going all right. I'm coming up with some nifty ideas of the things that I want to do. Because as long as you can get a sensor to do what you want, this thing will do pretty much everything. So I was thinking I might put a sensor on the garage door that when I open it, it turns on all the lights.
Ooh.
And I can have a membrane pad in there to do more. Like if I don't want one of them on, I can just press a button, turn it off. Press a button, turn on the air or the vacuum system. Heck, if I want to get really fancy, I could put like a thumb reader on the outside of the garage door, read my thumbprint, have it unlock the door so I can just lift up on it.
Whoa.
I know, it's so cool.
The possibilities.
It's endless. Actually, the one thing that I really wanted to do with this is come up with not a system, but a device that I can use on my little convection oven that I have out there. It's like a little convection toaster oven to control the temperature better. So I can set like a 10-degree window and have it operate within that instead of relying on that cheap little thermometer or whatever it is they have in those things that don't work worth a crap.
Yeah.
So
that'd be cool.
So I'll have to learn about thermocouples and all that kind of thing. Yay. But it's fun. I enjoy learning stuff like that.
Yeah. Sounds fun.
That's cool.
Speaking of fun stuff like that, I've had problems with the remote for my dust collection system. And a gentleman sent me a new switch. I took a switch off of it because one of the switches was jammed. And now, for some reason, it worked for a while. And now, all of a sudden, it's not working at all. And I don't know what's up with it. So I need to do a little troubleshooting on that. I'm half tempted to go ahead and run a switch down. It's in my loft. And I'm half tempted to run a switch down so I can just flip it on and off. Because it's just frustrating.
You're having issues with the remote?
The remote control, yes.
Is that IR or RF?
It is IR, yes, IR.
There could be dust on the receiving unit upstairs.
I kind of thought about that, but I haven't gone up there and cleaned it. I think I will and see if that helps. It's just weird. There are 3 buttons on the remote. One says time, one says on off, and one says set. The time button was jammed. And it was smashed, and I thought, well, maybe that's why I'm having trouble with the remote. So I took it off, and the remote started working better, and it worked better for about a week, 2 weeks. And then yesterday I went out in the shop, and I turned it on, turned it off, finished the process, and then that was it. It's never gone on again. So I'll start by looking at, as you mentioned, at the receiver end, making sure that's nice and clean, because it could be dust. There's a lot of static in there and a lot of dust. But hopefully I can figure it out. Otherwise, I'm just going to, it's 220. I modified it to 220. I'll just drop a switch down the wall, and I'll just use a flip switch for, like a 220 switch for on and off. That'd be good enough.
I don't mean to insult your intelligence, but I do assume that you swapped out the batteries in the remote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's okay. Go ahead and insult my intelligence. Yes.
Well,
sometimes you're right. I mean, sometimes it's the silliest things. And I did try. I use Everready batteries. I'm sorry, Duracell batteries. And I had Everready heavy duties in it. So no luck. I think the batteries, I put them on the multimeter, and they still showed 1.5 volts. So that thing doesn't draw anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so, like I said, it's a matter of climbing up there and getting all the crap out of the way to get to the the little thing. But we'll try that first, and if not, I think we're going to go switch. I'm just going to throw it away.
Or you could have me learn how to, program an Arduino to do all that for you.
Yeah, I might. I don't want to learn how to program an Arduino, but if you want a challenge, hey, I'm down for that.
Oh, trust me, I've got a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
53-year-old brain trying to learn new stuff. Bad.
I know. I've been learning JavaScript, and
they still use JavaScript.
A little bit of. Well, yes, we use PyVision, and we use back up. I'm learning PyVision and JavaScript. Now, the PyVision, we use a system called Pi, which stores data. Every couple of seconds, it's storing data from the operation. And then we use PyVision it's a new tool that we've used Pi for years, but it's a new tool that is web-based, and you can build screens with process screens that have live data on them. And you can click on the live data and go back and look at history. And,
so it's a dashboard system.
Exactly. And then JavaScript, we use MII, which used to be called Lighthammer, which is a system that can talk to SAP, and it can pretty well talk to just about any database you can think of, and it uses JavaScript as its main development language. So I've been on the side trying to teach myself a little bit of both of those, but last week I had no time to learn either of them because I was busy, very busy.
I think we may have just put Rebecca to sleep.
No, definitely not.
No.
I am thinking in the back of my mind about some of the more technical or technology-related things I've been working on lately, but not listening to anything you're saying because I don't understand any of it. But I was like, hey, I do things on computer. I compute sometimes. Because recently I have a 3D printer in my classroom. And nice. This is really the only reason I get to play in any digital modeling or 3D modeling realms anywhere, especially to teach that kind of stuff. So with the year and the way that it's been going, it's been in kind of a safe place storage area, keeping it out of visible sight for people. If we did end up having to shut down and get kicked out of the school at any point,
right.
I didn't want it to just be out in the open on my desk, right? So it's been hiding and nobody knows that I've had it. And I was like, it's already in the last quarter of the school year and my students don't even know I have this thing. So I busted it out last week and we started playing around with it. And I think I'm more excited that it's out again than they are.
Awesome.
And those things are so cool. And so I've just been printing stuff constantly, dumb stuff, little things, a little articulated dinosaur to see that it's actually going to work. Testing the rafts and the little padded bases, trying to experiment again and kind of reintroduce myself to 3D printing and figuring out what are the best settings for what I'm trying to do. And so just as kind of a sample to see if I could do it, I printed a couple of my necklace pieces that I've played with in the past year or so, and one of them is a bunch of little squished spheres sort of that have another negative half sphere cut out of each sphere, making a little cup almost, but a bunch of them in all different sizes. And I brought that sample home and I tried to fill all of the little cups with resin. And I need to play with my settings because it just soaks right through. Most of it. Some of it stays. Most of it, in at least the smaller ones, the smaller little variety pieces of it, they'll just go right through and they'll drip down into the surface. But fortunately, I have one of those silicone glue mats and I just put it on that. So it's got the glue mat texture all over the back of it now. But a lot of the resin just went right through it. But
we're talking about some small components, correct?
Pretty small.
Yeah.
up to about an inch in diameter, down to a little under a quarter inch.
Yeah. Do you ever check out Thingiverse?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
and I've actually
it's
got one necklace posted on there. It's what I had to do to complete my training course and get approved to get the 3D printer, but they've got some awesome stuff on there.
Yeah, it seems like a great place to find some things to download and then be able to modify them to meet your need as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot
and
of
you can
stuff
also
out there.
you can design in Tinkercad too, just for like a quick little design. Or in Sculpt GL, you can actually make a really organic form. Like you could make a model of a human face or an alien face or something.
wow.
Save it as the right file, bring it into Tinkercad, and then add some more geometric components onto it, and then export it into the program that you're going to use to print, and then print this thing. So that's what I did, and I tested a couple things, just trying to see how many times I can transfer a file and like export it from one place, import it into another place, keep playing with it, and then like keep exporting it and doing weird things. And surprisingly, it works pretty well.
Yeah. I've never used a printer, a 3D printer. Never.
They're fun.
And I've never used a laser. And I'm not opposed to either of them. I find them both extremely fascinating to watch work and to see the things that people make. It's just, I've not jumped at getting one. And I've had opportunities, but I've not jumped because I do so much computer work at work that when I come home, I just kind of want to unplug. So I think I'm missing out on a lot of opportunity, by not having one or not experimenting with one. But man, I just don't want to do that at home because I get enough of the computer stuff at work.
Yeah, I get it. But now that I've got it at the school, I'm almost sad to go home because I'm just like, I want to keep printing stuff.
They're not that expensive. You should buy one for home.
Yeah, I know. And the size that I have, not to get into like the value of the things that I have in the school, because, I've been using it for about 1.5 to 2 years now. You can buy one of those for less than $2,000 on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
That size, too. And it's got a pretty large build plate, but then you can get the smaller versions for just about $1,000. And the same make, just different model.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, if anybody out there has one that they're retiring because they've got a new one, send it to Rebecca. She'll make something really cool, and she'll make you something really cool if you give her a 3D printer that you don't need anymore.
It'll probably be something with legs.
Probably.
Even cooler.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Ooh.
Think about that. An original.
And then you could
Rebecca DeGroot.
articulate the legs.
Ooh. Yes.
Now, is your printer at school filament or the liquid?
It's
type?
filament. It's PLA filament. So it smells like maple syrup when it prints, but it gives me a headache. So I've been having a lot of headaches this week. But I've got the laptop, so I can just go to a different area of the classroom and do all my work like away from the 3D printer. So.
Or the other thing I've seen people do is take a box fan. The weather's getting nicer now. Open a window, put the box fan in the window, and set the printer right in front of the box fan. So as it prints, and just turn it on low so it doesn't mess with anything. But the fumes will then be sucked into the fan and blown out of the classroom.
Could possibly cause a problem though with the extruder.
it could cool it too fast.
You think? Well, that's why I said put it on low. I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever. I mean, I just thought I would throw that out there. I've seen people do that with lasers, which it's a different story because they're not, like you said, it could. I don't have a lot of history with with those, so maybe that's not a good idea.
No, I would like a laser.
They seem
always
cool.
wanted a laser.
They seem really cool.
Henry knows how to set them up now too, so I'm like,
ooh, yeah, Rockler has them. What do they sell? The Piranha? Is that what's the one they sell at Rockler?
that sounds familiar. They might have a Piranha.
I may be wrong on the name, but you need one. Don't you and Henry have like something coming up, like a birthday of yours that he could get you one?
That was in January.
Oh, okay. How about your half birthday? How about your half birthday? Isn't that getting close?
Oh yeah, that's coming up pretty soon.
There you go.
What's
There
that?
you go.
July.
Start putting pictures of it in like his copy of Look magazine, so that while he's reading, he'll be accidentally tricked into reading an ad about.
What I'll do is I'll just open his phone and just start talking about lasers and laser printers and laser engravers and laser, and then just wait for the ads to start popping up on all of his social media.
Little tip. Henry's a man. He'll never get the hint.
He will. When we were planning for the wedding, the amount of wedding dress ads he had popping up on his phone was ridiculous. He's like, what is going on?
You can always pull a Rick and Morty and inception yourself into his dreams and make him think it was his idea.
Yes. That's what I'll do. We'll see if I'll have time to do that later this evening. Oh, he's napping now, too.
Time to go.
I'll be right
Show's
back.
over. So earlier, when I was talking about issues I was having with getting into the shop, I've been suffering what I like to call maker's guilt. And this kind of hard to describe. Let's say I have 2 items to work on. One is something that I've promised to work on for somebody else already. And something comes along, a new idea, and I think, ooh, I want to work on that instead. But I've already promised this to somebody else. So I can't work on this, but I want to work on this. So since I can't work on this, I don't work on the first items. And the next thing you know, I'm not in the shop for 2 weeks doing anything because I feel bad because I'm not doing what I want to do or what I should do. Does that ever happen to you guys?
Never.
All the time.
All the time? Well, tell me about it. Tell me how I can get over this.
Not that exact scenario.
Well, what scenarios do you have, Bob?
Well, first off, my biggest bout with maker's remorse happened today, and I'm going to publicly apologize to everyone listening to this podcast because today was supposed to be a live podcast or a live Zoom with full video and audio for all of our listeners to join in on. And one of us got screwed up on the dates and totally just derailed everything. And I'm not going to say any names, but RJBWoodturner is his YouTube channel. And so I apologize to all of you. And I have maker's remorse about that because I love doing the lives. But we will, this is a fact now, we've got it on the calendar, on the 25th of April, that's a Sunday, at 6 p.m. Central Time, we are going to do a live. And if you would like to be a part of that, you need to contact one of us, and we will share with you the link for that live. We are not going to post the link publicly because we don't want to have 1,000 people randomly show up and then have, what happens when you get a bunch of people. You always get one joker on there who ruins it for everybody. We want to keep this, we want to have fun, but we want to keep it somewhat on track. That's funny. Topics will be questions. We would love to field questions from you guys, this or that's, and would you rathers. So you can start sending those to any of the 3 of us, or you can save them that day, and while we're on live, you can post them to the chat, and we will try to cover as many of them as we can. Now, we do want to keep the podcast close to an hour. If we go a little over, that's cool. But so we'll kind of have to maybe cull a few out and save them for a later episode. But all 3 of us are really looking forward to being live with all of you because we just think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're all looking forward to it. So that's my first bout with maker's remorse. My second bout with maker's remorse has been happening a lot lately. And I've mentioned this a couple of times. I got asked to demonstrate at SWAT, and I really want to do a demonstration that the people who watch it feel like their money was well spent and their time was well spent. I want them to leave the demo room thinking, okay, now he did a great job. That was a good demo. I learned something or I gained something. And I've been putting a lot of time into working on that at the expense of everything else. There have been no new videos, no new What You Doings, no new Instagram posts, because I really have not been working on much of anything else. And I have a lot of remorse about that because I love making the videos for all of the people who follow my channel. I love that interaction that I get after I post a video with all of the questions and the comments and being able to just talk with everyone. And that is weighing heavily on me. But I have set my mind to, and I'm very focused on making this work and be the best that it can be. So it is going to be a little bit longer before I get back to the regular RJBWoodturner format and projects. So my apologies for that. I'm going to apologize, but that's the biggest bout with Maker's Remorse that I'm facing at the moment.
I have a lot more. I have a lot more bouts with Maker's Remorse. So I deal with the same thing that I think Michael deals with on a pretty regular basis. So there are things that I should be doing, but then there are things that I want to do in the moment. And usually the things I want to do win out. But sometimes I get so upset at myself for not doing the things that I need to do and letting those need to do things just pile up that I just get so overwhelmed that then I freeze, because then I just can't wrap my head around what to do next or what level of importance I should actually prioritize these things in, that I'm just like, well, I can't do anything today because now my brain is everywhere and it's all over the place and it's spread so thin over so many different areas of the shop and what I need to do and what I want to do and what I have to do and what I should have done 3 weeks ago, that I'm just like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. Future Rebecca can deal with this later on. So,
meanwhile, future Rebecca is saying, damn you, past Rebecca.
Exactly. Future Rebecca hates me. Sometimes future Rebecca's like, yeah, that was a pretty good idea. But most of the time, she's just, she does not like me very much. But sometimes I just need to write lists and tell myself, like, you need to do this first. These are the order of things that you need to do. And if I follow the list, I'm good. But then I'll look at the end of the list. I'm like, that seems way more fun. And then I ignore my list. And I was like, well, then why did I even make it? But I get that way. And I do the same thing. And it's not that I freeze more often. It's that I just do the things that I want to do in the moment. And I think it has a lot to do with my ADD or ADHD or whatever it is. I still haven't been officially diagnosed, but one of them is there, or at least one of them is there. Right. And it's very much like Squirrel. And then I'll go off in a direction and I'll do something, leaving everything that I should be doing off to the side. Like the boxes. The boxes, for whatever reason, I started working on a bunch of them early, but then they've just been sitting there in a pile and I haven't finished them, and now they're just in the way. So now what I need to do is finish them and get them out of the way so I can use my planer again, because I'm actually planning on making some square boxes for whatever reason, because it's another one of those things that it's like, I really want to make those, but it's because I keep going to the store and buying really pretty wood, and I was like, well, it's not big enough for a bowl and it's not wide enough for an impressive platter. I could do a lot of really small platters, but I could make some really cool boxes out of it. So I spent a lot of today just getting those boxes out of the way and bringing them into an area of the house that stays safe. And now those are out of the way, but now I need to change my bandsaw blade so that I can resaw stuff. But what I really want to do is work on something completely different, like carve some stuff that I don't need to carve right now. I'm just having fun. So my maker guilt is more just reorganizing my brain and pushing my needs to do off to the side for way too long, and then it ends up there's smoke coming from my blade when I cut because I really need to change it. And I cleaned it. It's not that it's like build up pitch. I actually took the blade off and like spent about half an hour scrubbing the stupid thing. It's just dull now. And it hasn't broken yet. I was having that problem for a while too, and I'm actually surprised it's lived this long, because this is the longest living blade I've had, like, in probably over a year. But it's just dull, and I need to either figure out how to sharpen it or send them out to be sharpened and repaired. And then I'll have like 13 extra blades. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, you know what'll happen as soon as you sharpen them. They'll break.
They'll break.
Yeah.
I had to put a new bandsaw blade on this week. Mine was, like you said, it was just so bad. It was smoking, and it was turning the wood black. It was burning it on some woods, and it was drifting. And they always say when it drifts, that side of the blade is the dull side, right? Mm-hmm. So I put a new one on, but the only one I had was a 4 TPI blade. So I ordered 2 new 24 TPI blades, and they came in. But today I tried to do a project, and I tried to just go ahead and use it. It cuts like a champ. But boy, those teeth leave a lot of grooves in there, so it doesn't glue back together very nicely.
Oh.
So I was disappointed in that. But
I use a resaw blade most of the time, and the one that I use is a 3 TPI.
Yeah.
And they're beasts of blades.
They chew through the wood.
They sure do.
I love how smooth they cut. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's because the teeth don't get clogged because they're so big that they can just drop all that garbage. I love the way it cuts, and that's why I didn't take it off, because it cuts fast. Yeah. But I knew better. I knew I should have put one of the maybe was it 24 or 14, whatever. I should have put one of the finer blades on there. Now I'm double guessing myself on what I purchased. Go figure.
Well, I've got a bandsaw question for you two, and possibly Alex Snodgrass if he's listening. I'm having a trouble with my blade not cutting at 90 degrees. And I have checked both with Machinist Square and with one of the digital angle finders, the square ones that have the magnetic base. Mm-hmm. And I am dead on 90 degrees from my table to the blade. Mm-hmm. But I'm cutting at about 87 degrees.
That's a big
a couple
difference.
Of things. Yeah, a couple of things I would look at.
Tension.
Tension's one. Are you forcing the cut? Are you letting the blade cut, or are you putting a little too much pressure where the blade is being pushed back into the bearings? Because if you're doing that, it can cause the blade to be off a little bit. The other thing is, if you're using a cheap blade, a lot of times, you get these blades that are manufactured overseas, and they're just not the highest quality. They will tend to drift a little bit because the teeth are not all at those teeth. What they do is they bend them out, right, at a little bit of an angle. And if they're not all at the same angle, it can drift a little bit. Or if one side of the blade is dull, it can drift. Those are just a couple of things I would look at. I mean, make sure you're letting the blade do the job. That
kind of drift you're going to see in the cut. How do I describe it? The top down cut as you're looking.
How thick of a blade are you using?
How thick of a blade?
Is it quarter inch, half inch?
It's half inch.
That's pretty thick.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just cutting through the a blank for a pen, and it's not the side to side angle that's going off; it's the top to bottom.
Yeah,
that's really strange. Now I just want to reach out to Alex and figure it out.
Yeah.
Another thing to check. I had a problem with mine. Check your bearings. Okay. Mm-hmm. My bearings got really mucked up with sawdust, and there's like 6 of them in my particular saw, and some of them weren't turning. So perhaps you got a bearing that's not turning, and you're sliding on the bearing, and it's causing it to veer off. I don't know. It's worth a try. I'm not saying that's going to fix it, but there's probably somebody listening who is far better at bandsaw tuning than I am, and I hope they are, and I hope they comment and give you some feedback.
Alex, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Or if you'd
just give us a nudge.
If you're with like Laguna or Jet or one of the big companies, we'd like you just to send us all new saws so that we can, test them out and see how they work. Yeah, that'd be great.
And this is a Jet saw.
Yeah,
it's a Jet.
Yeah.
I got a Jet that Rebecca's supposed to come pick up.
Yeah. If I had 3-phase, I'd be picking that up myself.
Yeah.
Cram it into that shop somewhere.
Dude, you can buy an inverter, right?
Sure.
I just don't want it.
My dad has a bandsaw that I think it took 4 people to load it onto a truck, maybe 6.
Yeah.
He said that thing is the heaviest thing he has in his shop, and it's got like a 36-inch throat or something.
Wow.
36, 32. Massive. It goes
Yeah.
like floor to ceiling in his shop house. And
Wow.
it's like insane.
That sounds like a Jimmy DeResta bandsaw.
Yeah, it is. Now, if those two ever met each other, my dad and Jimmy DeResta, I think they could just talk for years.
They'd have a bromance, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I'll bet that saw runs really slow, doesn't it? It's not fast. It runs slow, doesn't it?
I have no idea. I've never, not in my
Wow,
adult
that's
life,
cool.
seen it run.
At some point, you'll have to ask your dad to take a photo and send it to us. I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'll have to.
That's the kind of saw you get rid of evidence with.
Exactly.
It's a hell of a cleanup,
Dexter.
though.
Yeah, I bet.
I told you one of my first jobs out of high school,
Not if
I
you
had to
freeze it
clean the
first.
bandsaw in the meat room.
Oh, that's a disgusting job, isn't it?
It sure is, but I learned how to like wrap up a bandsaw blade really well.
Oh yeah, that's fun when the first time you get that to work, that trick.
Oh yeah. Although one time I didn't do it quite right, and it sprung back open on me and sliced over all 4 of my hands, or more,
Yeah.
all 4 of my hands.
You have 4
all
hands?
4 of my fingers.
My goodness. 4 hands. You must have had your little hands out at the same time.
Yeah, my little hands and my big hands. Just slice it right up.
That's funny. Yeah, I did this. I did something similar in high school. I worked in the meat department, and my job, I got to do a little bit of cutting, like butchering and grinding beef and things like that. But one of my main jobs was I was the evening guy because I went to school during the day, so I got to clean up after everybody. And those bandsaws are, whew. I'll have to tell you a story sometime. I almost died from a bandsaw in the butcher shop, and that's not a joke. That's not. I'm not exaggerating. It almost killed me. So I have to tell you that story sometime.
That's
I'm not going to
terrifying.
share it on the podcast. That's one I don't share on the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say that sounds like the kind of thing for a live broadcast.
That sounds like after show for if we ever get a Patreon.
After show. So you're trying to profit from my misfortune.
Yes.
Golly, I don't appreciate
Isn't that the point of
I
having
should
stories?
have thought of that first and put it on my Patreon.
Jeez, you remember the show Jackass? You remember how much money they made?
Yeah. Well, this wasn't stupid. This was, something else. I wasn't like throwing chickens at a running blade or something, Are you okay, Rebecca? Start breathe.
I'm good,
Henry.
I'm good.
Henry.
Yeah.
So, anybody else out there in listener land, if you have issues with maker's remorse, why don't you send us in some of your ideas of how do you get over that hump? Mm-hmm. Maybe we can read those on air.
Yeah.
Give me some ideas how to get my ass back out in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write a list.
I tell you, this time of year, it's tough to get out in the shop because all of those projects come up. You're hitting the landscape store and buying bushes, and I mean, the weather's so nice. You just want to be out in the yard, and it's tough getting in the shop, man.
Yeah, I know, with all those bushes.
Replacing rotted wood under your house, putting in a new French door. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I paid guys to do that, so I can't use that as an excuse.
Well, you
I
stood
could
out
have
in the
been
yard
in
and
the shop while
supervised,
they were
right?
doing that.
Hey, believe it or not, you talk about being outdoors. My daughter was wanting to get a summer job, and I said, "You're crazy. What do you want a summer job for? Work around your neighborhood." The next door neighbor, the guy that lives right next to me, stopped by today and said, "Hey, who sealed your driveway?" And I said, "I did. It's really easy." I said, "Go over there and tell him if he buys all the equipment or all the material, you'll do his driveway for $300. $300? I can get $300 for it? I said, "Heck yeah, you can get $300. They'll charge you way more than that." I said, "It's super easy. You just clean the driveway and you just take a roller, let it dry, go back the next day and roll it on. And I'll teach you how." So I said, "That's what you do. You get odd jobs like that in the neighborhood and try making $300, at a some little rinky-dink job, and you can't even work when you want to work." Mm-hmm. So she's getting ready to kind of start her. She's going to go talk to him. They're out today. She's going to go talk to him and give them a quote. She did the guy's fence behind us, did a real nice job, cleaned it and finished it. So, and I'm going to go work with her and supervise and teach her how to do it. And then she's going to hit up a few of the other neighbors.
That's awesome.
It's so much better. You work 2 days a week. She can make $300, and she'll be happy. But the cool thing is, I'm going to rent her my pressure washer. I am. And she's going to rent it for the day, and it's going to come with a full tank of gas, and it gets returned with a full tank of gas. I got to teach her. She needs to understand how business works, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's a fun little thing. I mean, I'm not going to gouge her.
Yeah,
but
she also needs to understand that it's not going to be $300 profit with nothing being taken out of that.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. So, you have to rent your tool, or you have to own your tool. You can go buy one if you want, but it's going to probably cost you $300,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to give her a little dose of business reality, because she's the type that, and I'm way off topic, but she's the type that's smart enough to have her own business and run her own business. She just needs somebody to hold her hand a little bit and guide her down that path. Enough said. Tangent released. Back to you, Mike. Sorry. It's things that happen during the day you want to talk about. That's what makes me such an interesting
fellow. We're to the point we're ready for the shop squirrel.
Shop squirrel. Ooh, these are all nutty.
I bet.
Literally
nutty.
Almonds. You know what's brown and full of nuts?
What?
Nice look. Oh, I'm not finishing that.
Almonds are a member of the peach family. I had no idea. It's weird.
Do you know? I'm gonna jump on this. There is a second type of almond, and I have just lost the name of it. That is one of the most healthiest almonds you can eat. And a regular almond has a brown skin on it, and that brown skin is not good for you. Interesting, isn't it?
Sure. So then can't you just soak your almonds and peel the skins off?
I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I just thought I'd throw that out.
Well, if it's just the skin, then just take the skin off.
Well, you would think so. I think there's something else, but go ahead.
Okay. The peanut is a vegetable and a member of the pea family.
It is a legume. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I know.
Cool.
And pecans, which I found out recently, dogs are not okay eating.
Ooh, yes. They make them sick.
Pecans are the only food that astronauts do not have to treat and dehydrate when flying in space.
Do you know what one of the most healthiest nuts for you is?
Walnut.
The walnut.
Oh, I just had some walnuts today.
Walnuts can actually heal the lining of your stomach.
Wow.
They
can repair wood scratches.
Ooh.
Yeah, bringing it all the way back to woodworking here.
Woodworking. Walnut.
Wow.
The ultimate nut.
It is the ultimate nut.
It's almost like we planned that, but we didn't. It's amazing.
I know.
No, we definitely did.
Now, to be a nut, it has to grow on a tree, right?
I think so.
Peanuts grow in the ground. They're legumes.
Yeah,
almonds are nuts. Ground. They grow on a tree.
Right.
Is that the case, or are there nuts that do not grow on trees?
Well, isn't it that they have a shell without other fruit that grows around them that they're a nut?
Oh, potentially. That's why I was asking. I didn't know.
Because cashews are not a nut; they're a seed.
Right.
Which I think we talked about.
Now, cashews.
Welcome to the minutia of nuts.
They do grow on trees, and they're the kind of byproduct of the fruit that grows on the trees.
Okay.
It's really weird looking when you look at a picture of a cashew tree or cashew fruit. It's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What's the fruit taste like?
No idea. Probably not a cashew.
Anything else from the squirrel?
No, not today.
Welcome to Nut Talk, everyone.
That'd be a better name for it. Because I'm kind of a nut myself. I'm a little bit of a nut.
I'm ready for dad jokes.
I know.
I had one, and now that I've read it a second time, I think you've already sold this one before, Rebecca.
What is it?
No.
I might have.
A slice of apple pie costs $2 in the Bahamas. In Jamaica, it costs $2.50. These are the pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know. I don't know if I told that one, but it's still funny.
I remember that one. That's a good one. That's a good one, though. I mean, sometimes you got to have a repeat for a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I have a woodworking. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca. You go next.
I got this one from Kyle Foote. He hasn't written in a while, and he wrote in today, so I'm excited about this. A Mexican magician said he was going to disappear on the count of 3, and he counted 1, 2, and then poof, he disappeared. He disappeared without a trace.
All right.
Those of you who don't speak Spanish have no idea what I'm talking about.
I got one for you that's kind of woodworking related. Mm-hmm. What's the first step in getting accepted into Carpentry School? Submitting a stool sample. It's funny. I like it.
Ew.
I've seen those. Well, not those, but like little like woodworkers.
What?
They'll make a tiny baby stool and they'll put it in like a prescription bottle.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's my stool sample.
Here's my stool sample. And it actually, that kind of brings me to another tangent, which I hope you don't mind. Now that I'm on like new medication, I've got like a pill bottle that I'll have every month, and it's like one of the generic sizes, like 1.5 inches or so across. Like, what is that? 2.5, 3 inches tall. What am I supposed to do with all these? Like, do you use pill bottles for anything that you like? Something useful? I don't want to waste it. It's a good container.
Mm-hmm. Bushings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tell you, you may find this hard to believe, but I am not on any medication whatsoever, so I have no idea what to do with them.
Okay. If anybody has any suggestions, other than the very obvious bushings from Michael, I didn't even think of that. But that's a good suggestion and a great way to organize those. But like, I'm usually not on any medications either, so it's like I don't know what to do with all of them now that I'm getting them.
Yeah,
so
that's you know what you could do?
What?
This may seem silly, but we used to do this with baby food jars when I was a kid. Baby food jars used to be glass with a metal lid, and you would run a screw through the lid and put it under a board, and you could put little screws in them.
Mm-hmm. My dad used to do that.
Yeah.
I think he still does. He's just got little glass jars. I'm so clumsy, I would end up smashing those jars.
Yeah.
Carrying a nice long new piece of walnut through.
Sorry, Dad.
There's got to be. I mean, there's got to be some way to recycle those. There's got to be.
There has to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I can just put some mixes of finish in them. Have like little.
When you get enough of them saved up.
Keep your mix of trans tints. Say if you make up a batch of trans tint with alcohol and one with water. Are
they waterproof? If you dropped it, would they spill? Will they hold moist water in?
I'm sure Rebecca will let us know.
I don't think they are. I've got the little bottles for my trans tints for mixing up containers. Yeah. They're like that. They've got the little wire tip that comes out of it.
Here's what you could do. Once you get enough of them saved up, you could start a monthly prescription service where people pay you like X dollars a month, and each month they get a little prescription bottle with something in it, like a little earrings with candy corns or a little butt or something.
Drug dealers.
There you go. They're called what?
I said I think those are called drug dealers.
No. You're not putting anything in there that people would physically take. You'd put like a little blank in there or a little earrings or something. No, come on. I don't take it there,
I could
Rebecca.
use them as a little shipping thing. For a small item.
To protect.
And then everybody will know what kind of anxiety meds I'm on.
Well, you peel the label off.
No, I'll leave it on. They'll all know.
Okay.
This sounds like a job for Eddie Stipe. Eddie, what do you do with used prescription bottles? Let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you know
sure
what they
he's
would
got
be?
A good idea.
They would be the perfect size mold for a cast bottle stopper blank.
Yeah, I've seen people use them for molding before. I would bet you if you used a good mold release, they probably would be reusable. I've seen people make pen blanks in them, in the smaller ones. Mm-hmm. Because they're about, as long as they're over 2.25 inches, you can do a slimline blank.
Yeah.
So you could definitely make a blank in them.
Look at all this last-minute awesome advice.
You could just use some PVC.
PVC works
usually
better, yeah.
I've actually got a bag of PVC pipes. Lots of different sizes.
Wow. Yeah, somebody send us in some ideas of what you do with them, because there's got to be a way to. There's a way to. I guess you could go on Pinterest and look it up. There's probably a billion.
Oh, probably.
Send us in your ideas of anything you recycle out in the shop. Something from your house that you repurpose for the shop. We'd love to hear about that.
That might be a good topic for a future show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Recycled things.
Since we always die for a topic.
I don't know what you're talking about. We're always...
We are so organized.
We have so many topics, it's just hard to choose every week.
Yeah, go with that.
Like one of the suggestions today was coming up with a topic for the show.
Yeah. That's a difficult thing to do. If you guys have ideas of things you'd like us to talk about, send those to one of us. We'd love to have some help coming up with topics, because it is tough. And that's why sometimes we just go off the rails for no reason. And other times we just do it because I like to go off the rails for no reason.
You?
But, me.
What?
I did notice that this past show of As the Pen Turns went it didn't necessarily go off the rails, but they didn't have a specific topic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't caught up on the episodes on that one. I got so far behind on my podcast, that I'm trying to get through all the ones, all the other ones that I listen to, because they kind of come in order on my podcast player. So it's always, Reclaimed Audio is up there that plays first, and the Jimmy DiResta, Bob Claggett one, whatever. So it's kind of funny, but I've got 3 or 4 episodes I got to catch up on, and I plan to do that soon.
Yeah, I've been catching up on some of my creepier podcasts lately. I haven't actually been listening to any maker podcasts, except for I did listen to one episode of ours, one episode of Making It, which is what I think you're trying to think of.
Making It, yes. Yeah, I went blank.
I have listened to every single current episode of Let's Not Meet. And I don't know how many there were, but I've blown through all of them. So now I'm all out of the Let's Not Meet podcast, and I need to listen to something else that's just slightly creepy but not terrifying, and I'm listening to Morbid right now. So I've been binging Morbid episodes, and they're not long, so I can listen to if it's a day off where I'm just in the shop all day, I might go through 12 episodes of Morbid. Wow. And I'm fine listening to it because every episode goes over a different story. So it's okay. And then there's some of them, there's 2 and 3 parters. So if there's something that was real intense that happened in the past, they'll talk about it for 3 episodes. So
I have a question for you.
Crazy. Yeah.
When you listen to I'm going to call them your Morbid podcast. Okay. When you listen to those, have you ever been listening to one and all of a sudden you get an idea for a project?
Not often.
I just wondered if anything went through your brain,
Sometimes if they have something that they use to do their terrible acts, I might have a idea visually of something sharp in my head.
Well, I remember you made didn't you make a wooden knife one time?
Yeah, I did make a wooden knife. Yeah. But I didn't get that idea from the podcast. I got it because I was making. I was watching,
just curious.
I was watching Forged in Fire, and I wanted to make a cool knife.
Try out the No Sleep podcast.
No Sleep.
Which one?
No Sleep.
No Sleep. Will I then get no sleep?
If it's probably not recommended to listen to it while you're actively trying to go to sleep.
Okay. No sleep. All right, I'll look into that one. Is it also spooky and terrifying?
It can be.
No. Okay.
That's the hard part is there are so many podcasts out there, and some of them are really good, and it's tough. And then you get hooked on one and you want to go back and listen to all the earlier episodes. Then you get behind on all your other ones, and it takes you forever to catch up.
Dark Air. I just started listening to Dark Air. Have you guys heard of that one?
Mm-mm. Well, you listen to a lot of different stuff than I do. I'm a little lighter on my podcast. I might go for a comedy podcast, but
does anybody else find it ironic that we're talking about other podcasts while people listen to us on a podcast?
Yeah, turn this off now and go check out Dark Air.
Well, Rainn Wilson, who plays Dwight,
Yes.
on The Office. He hosts a podcast called Dark Air with Terry Carnation, and it's like an AM radio station where he takes calls and does all this other stuff. It's so funny. Oh my god, it's stupid, but it's really funny, and it's amazing, and I love it so far. And I've only listened to one episode, and there's only a few on there. There's 2 episodes, and I've already listened to both of them, and now I'm sad because I want
Is
more.
it new? Did he just start, or has he just lost?
So I think from the way that it sounds, he had been on previously, or this is very new, and the way that they're playing it out is that he had a mental breakdown and he had to take a break from the airwaves for a while, and now this is him coming back.
Aha. Got it.
So I think it's new.
Okay.
But I believe
Very
there's
cool.
another one that's either hosted by him or it has something to do with him. It's Radio Rental, but I haven't gotten into that one yet.
Okay.
But I hear it's good.
I like Sammy the Bull Gravano. That's a fun podcast. He's an ex-mafia guy. And this week he talked about a hit that they did on a guy. The guy kind of disrespected him and his club. So they pulled a hit and they killed the guy, and he's talking about he's literally telling the truth. He's telling true stories about his time in the mafia. And sometimes they deal with, we killed this guy or whatever, but it's just interesting. He's a very interesting guy and a very good storyteller. So, yeah.
And nobody's going to tell him anything different than that.
Hell no. No, it's, and I think it's good that we talk about other podcasts because, I'm hoping that somewhere out there somebody talks about our podcast. And, maybe we pick up a few listeners because you never know what people are interested in.
Yeah.
We're being Rick and Morty'd. It's podcastception.
There you go.
It's a podcast in a podcast in a podcast.
Oh.
All right, social medias. Who's got them?
I got
him. Go, Rebecca.
I got him. Rebecca DeGroot on Facebook and YouTube. Instagram, Rebecca_DeGroot. Etsy, RebeccaDeGrootStudio with no spaces. Redbubble, RebeccaDeGrootStudio with spaces. And that's it for right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you can find me at RJBWoodturner on both Instagram and YouTube. I have a shop vlog channel called WhatchaDoinBob on YouTube. And, of course, if you're interested in supporting the channels a little more, you can join my Patreon channel at RJBWoodturner. And that's where I've been sharing a lot of information about the demo that I'll be doing for SWAT. The people out there, I'm bouncing ideas off of them, and they're seeing everything that's going on as it happens.
And I'm at Lost River Pens on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LostRiverPens.com, where I sell label cast blanks. Everybody come over and buy a blank this week. It'd be much appreciated.
Yeah.
Daddy's got a lot of stock he needs to get rid of. Well, I think we have beaten this podcast to death, so I'm going to call it quits for this week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and listening along with us. We hope you enjoyed the hour as much as we did. If you did, well, even if you didn't, share this podcast with your friends, your family, extended relatives, enemies, whoever you feel should know about us. Be very appreciated. Leave us a comment. Leave us a review on the iTunes. Let us know what you think. Give us 5 stars. Give us 4.5 stars, and we'll razz you on the air. Holly.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, and we're not talking about the lovely and talented Holly Denny. We're talking about the other Holly.
The other Holly.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you... Figure it out.
And be sure to let us know about if you would want to be involved with the live podcast that we'll be recording in two weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Not this next weekend.
Is that 2 weeks, Mike?
On the 25th.
25th.
Sunday.
Oh. We're doing a live on the 25th?
We're doing a live on the 25th.
Well, who knew?
Well, we all did.
I did.
now.
You guys didn't tell me. I'll probably forget. Like I'm not wearing my memory foam shoes. I'm not wearing my memory foam shoes, so I don't know what's going on. Just keep rolling without me. Sorry.
All right. Everybody have a great week. Get out in your shop. Don't be demotivated because you're avoiding some work. Just get out there and make something.
Yeah.
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 And we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Mic drop.
Ow.